This is KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Now at 6, the city of Wolfforth is hoping to become a home rule city. We'll explain what that means and how they plan to do it. Plus, the Department of Justice plans to fight a court ruling that would ban a certain group of people from possessing a firearm. And the Pentagon is keeping a close eye on a huge balloon soaring above the U.S. Why they believe it's being used to spy on our country. We have these stories and more headed your way. Good morning. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Angie Wynn. We'll get to those in just a moment, as well as your forecast. Things are warming up. Steve Devine is in to tell us more about that. And Michael Cantu is at the News Now desk. Hi, Michael.
Morning, Angie. Well, we're talking some extreme cold. It's passing over the Northeast as we speak. And we will share some details after a late night house fire here in Lubbock. But for now, let's turn to Steve and get a check of our local forecast. Morning, Steve.
Good morning. It is a cold start, but we do have some much warmer temperatures on the way. We have clear skies, so Doppler also showing us the clear conditions here. Current temperatures at our regional airports, we're mostly in the 20s. The exception right now is Snyder at 31, Lubbock and Levelland at 23, Plainview coming in at 21. So low 20s here in the Lubbock area. Little bit of a breeze, feels like 16 degrees. So again, cold start to the day, but it's going to warm up as we head into the lunch hour. We'll be in the 40s, then this afternoon temperatures in the 50s. A little bit of a breeze, but with the sunshine, no precipitation for us today. Now heading into the evening after sunset, 6:20 in the evening, by the way, temperatures will fall in the 40s, and then overnight we'll be back in the 30s with a low of about 31 degrees. But the weekend, nice warm up on the way. Tomorrow 66 for a high, and by Sunday 72 degrees. Now Monday will get a little bit warmer. Angie, there's another chilly air mass though that will follow that.
All right, thank you, Steve. Well, the winter weather may be over for us, but for other parts of the U.S. it's just beginning. Michael has details from the News Now desk.
And you right now, an Arctic blast is on the way to the Northeast. This could bring some wind chills of minus 60 degrees. Here's a live look in Philadelphia. Temps getting quite a bit lower there. Now, wind chill warnings are already in place for more than 16 million people. This ranges from the folks in Syracuse all the way up to Maine. Power companies are now getting ready for the potential for massive outages. This bout of extreme cold, by the way, they expect that to last until tomorrow night. Angie?
All right, thank you, Michael. After another lengthy public hearing last night, the Lubbock Planning and Zoning Commission approved a request for a zoning change, one that would allow for a student housing apartment complex near Texas Tech. Our Patricia Perry joins us now to tell us more. Patricia.
Angie, this is the complex west of University Avenue that has received opposition from the Tech Terrace Neighborhood Association. After the commission voted against the zoning change in November, the developer submitted a revised plan. It would now include a 5-story, 600-bed building on 19th Street with retail space and a parking garage. On 20th Street, the developer proposed building 7 2-story homes, which is a change from the previous plan. Although the Tech Terrace Neighborhood Association opposed the new plan, it ultimately garnered enough support from the commission. The owner of the land says this is a step in the right direction.
The property has been deteriorating for years. We think we are offering something that's far better than what we have now.
This proposal, with the Commission's and Planning Department's recommendation of approval, goes to the City Council for the final say. It's expected to first hear the case on February 28th. In the next half hour, we will take a look on what went into this decision. Angie.
Thank you, Patricia. The city of Wolfforth is hoping to become what is called a home rule city. And what that means is the city of Wolfforth could be self-governed rather than governed by the state. Right now, the city is accepting applications on its website to help write the charter. A 15-person panel would get ideas from Lubbock's governing document, as well as any others across Texas that might help. The city hopes to work on it over the next few months and then have the document ready for voters in November. In Olton ISD will not have school today. In a Facebook post, the district says it's inspecting facilities on campus for a potential harmful substance. The district says the safety of students and staff is, of course, their highest priority, so school will not resume until all facilities are safe. This announcement comes after students were released early Wednesday due to a suspected gas leak. The scheduled basketball games for tonight have been moved from Olton to Abernathy High School. Michael?
Angie, right now we're trying to gather some details on a late night house fire. Crews responded after 9 last night to a house near 3rd Street and Avenue T, right off the Marshall Sharp Freeway. The damage was mostly to the exterior of the home. Our photographer at the scene adds power lines were also damaged in the backyard. There's no indication anyone was injured or died in this fire. We're still waiting to get some details, though, from the Lubbock Fire Department. Angie?
Thank you, Michael. The Department of Justice plans to fight a court ruling calling a federal gun control law unconstitutional. Here's why. A judge's panel with the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled against a law that keeps people with domestic violence restraining orders from possessing a firearm. And it found the law could not stand under the Bruin test, which affirms the right to bear arms does not stop at a person's front door. This is the most significant Second Amendment ruling in more than a decade. The DOJ could ask the full appeals court to hear the case or take the appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. The Pentagon is keeping a close eye on a huge balloon soaring above the U.S. A senior defense official says it could be a Chinese spy balloon. John Lawrence reports.
Washington, D.C. officials are looking skyward toward a mysterious balloon hovering over the northern part of the United States.
Here's the moon. Right. And then there's that.
According to a senior defense official, the surveillance balloon was most likely sent by China.
They could be scooping up signals intelligence. In other words, they're looking at our cell phone traffic, looking at our radio traffic. They're looking at the government's command and control networks.
A Pentagon spokesperson says the balloon poses no threat to residents below or commercial air traffic. President Joe Biden was briefed on the matter, and a senior administration official says Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley recommended not shooting the balloon down.
Would we then set a precedent whereby we think we're flying in international space near China, but they believe it's Chinese airspace and they take the same action?
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is calling for action, tweeting that China's brazen disregard for U.S. sovereignty must be addressed, and he's requesting a Gang of 8 briefing.
It raises concerns, and for that reason, I think it's very important for the United States to be taking whatever steps are necessary in order to be able to deal with whatever threat China represents.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
A senior defense official says if the potential risk of the balloon increases, the U.S. will have to decide on options to deal with that situation. And we're checking in now with Steve Devine. He has a look at your morning forecast as well as what you could expect the rest of the weekend. Steve?
Good morning. A warm-up is on the way. Now, right now it's pretty cold, but I want to start with a look at yesterday's temperatures. The low is 28, which is the average for this time of year. Yesterday's high, 55 degrees, just 2 degrees shy of the the average for the date. But for the year so far, 64 hundredths of an inch of precipitation. That's just about 5 hundredths of an inch below what is considered average through the through Groundhog Day, the first 3 days of the year or so. Tower Cam, well, we have clear skies right now, dry conditions. The airport is clear in 23. Notice how light the breeze is, just 6 miles per hour, but still the wind chill is 15. Now, at the airport outside of Plainview, currently clear in 22. The wind is calm, so there's no wind chill factor to report at this point. But even as the wind picks up just a little bit, 5-6 miles per hour, that'll send that wind chill reading down into the mid-teens or so. Overall picture, the precipitation that moved through our area, the Lone Star State, is in the southeastern part of the country. There's also that really cold blast of air that's moving into the northeast. Michael was talking about a little bit earlier. Back here, though, we're kind of in between systems. Skies are clear, winds are light, temperatures, again, getting down in the 20s here this morning. But the winds today, they're light now, but you'll notice a westerly to southwesterly component developing for much of the area, and that will help to keep the air dry, but also to warm things up a bit as we go through the afternoon. It does get a little bit breezy, especially out to the northwest of the Lubbock area, closer to 10 to 20 miles per hour in that region overall. High temperatures today, mid and upper 50s for most of us. Lubbock at about 57 degrees for the high temperature. We are looking at our overnight lows with a dropping back below freezing here across the area, or at least freezing out to the far east, but everybody else just a little bit below. Lubbock at about 31 degrees, but much warmer as we go through the weekend, so that is coming up here in just a few minutes. Angie?
Thank you, Steve. It is 6:08 on your Friday morning. How are you this morning? Glad you're with us. Coming up, we're talking about scary situation at a high school in Houston. Parents are now demanding answers, plus new episodes of both Lopez versus Lopez and Young Rock. Those are coming out tonight. We have your entertainment news up next. Keep it here. You're watching Daybreak today on News Channel 11.